Welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. On today's episode, I want to talk about failure, and I want to talk about this because it's so important to understand how to look at failure and how we can change the failure, how we can look at it in a different way so that we can have motivation, so that we are motivated and inspired to continue moving forward. Because whenever we look at failure in a negative way, that can really affect us in a very hard way, and it can put us down and make us feel like we have no way of overcoming anxiety. Because a lot of us, we try so many different things, and we have been dealing with anxiety so much, and we've seen so much failure, we are just demotivated. We don't have any motivation whatsoever to continue moving forward because we have failed. We feel like we're a failure. And it's important to look at failure in a different way, and we can embrace it more in a positive way, because whenever we look at failure as it, like for example, whenever we have anxiety, right? We're having anxiety, we want to overcome our anxiety. We want to overcome this thing. But we've tried so many different things, and we're like, okay, I'm getting sick and tired of it. It doesn't seem like I can overcome this. It feels like no matter what I do, I'm going to be stuck like this for the rest of my life. That can make you feel very down. I know that it did for me. I remember how hopeless I felt waking up every single morning saying, you know what, this is the way I'm going to be. I'm going to be experiencing DPDR for the rest of my life, because I had it 6 months straight. 6 months straight just having DPDR with nothing, not even a break, really messed with me at that time. And it made me feel so hopeless. I'm like, you know what? Nothing is going to help in this situation. And I felt so down. It made me feel so down, and it made me feel depressed. I was depressed. I've never felt, and this depression wasn't like, when you're sad. It hurts in your bones. It hurts inside. It's such a heavy feeling that it physically hurts you. And like the pain that you have inside is not something normal. And it's just like, man, that's what it can get you to when you look at failure and you look at yourself like, hey, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. As well, a lot of us, we are afraid of doing something. We are afraid of moving forward in situations, not only with anxiety in general in life, that makes us feel like we're stuck. Because like, oh, what if this thing happens? And what if I fail? And what if I lose this? And what if I make a mistake? And like, we put so much pressure on ourselves. You see, failure, the thought of failing puts so much pressure on ourselves that it creates more anxiety. Because whenever we want to overcome our anxiety, we have to do certain things that can make us uncomfortable. But like, okay, but what if like something bad happens over there? And like, what if I move backwards now? Because like, I feel like I've been good for the past few days, but now if I go outside or I do something that's going to trigger my anxiety, because you have to do certain things that are going to trigger your anxiety, so you have to work on those situations. But what if like now, if I do it and I move and I go backwards? And that's a fear a lot of people have. A lot of people have that fear, like, what if I go backwards? And what if my anxiety gets worse now? And I can't handle it. It's too much. So we stay stuck in our situation and we feel comfortable over there, but we're not getting the results that we want. And we have to. Anything in life that you want, we're going to have to take a risk. Of course, we have to take a calculated risk. I'm not saying now jump and that's it. No, we got to take a calculated risk. But you have to understand, the first moment, remember Steve Harvey said, he's like, you have to jump. He's like, in the beginning, you are going to fall. But eventually, whenever the parachute opens up, you start gliding down. You understand? It was such a good metaphor, because he said the first moment, whenever you try something that's going to make you uncomfortable, something that you're going to try to do in your life, you are going to drop pretty quickly. It's going to happen. But don't fear that. Don't fear that. Look at those moments. As an opportunity to learn. Failure is not, we don't have to define ourselves by the times we fail. We can look at failure as a way of a learning experience, so that whenever we make a mistake, say, you know what, I made a mistake. And guys, it's okay to make a mistake. You don't have to be perfect. Try not to be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to look like a fool. You are going to look ridiculous sometimes, but it's worth it at the end, because you get what you want. It's okay to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. And even while you're trying to overcome your anxiety, I know a lot of people, they put pressure on themselves to make sure that they're doing it correctly. No, we don't have to make sure that we're doing it correctly the first time. We might mess up the first time. Let's say, for example, with exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is not an easy thing to do because you're exposing yourself to the situation that triggers your anxiety. You know how hard it is to get to that point wherever you're able to handle that? It's not a 1, 2, 3 thing, but you can say to yourself, you know what? My expectation is not high. I am just going to go there. I'm going to try to do my best. I'm going to use those. I'm going to write down the things that I have to do for exposure therapy. I'm going to go to that place and I'm going to look at it. Okay, exactly what I need to do. Say, you know what? Maybe for the first 2 minutes, I'll be fine. And maybe I might experience anxiety over there. But you know what? We're going to gradually increase. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn from this mistake and from this failure what I need to improve so that eventually I can get to my goal. Eventually, I can get to the place that I want to. Another example is whenever I started this podcast. When I first started this podcast, nobody really listened to the podcast. Again, that's normal. That's going to happen. I wasn't having high expectations. But now it's growing. And I said to myself, like, Emmanuel, you have to put in the effort every single day. Try to see what you can do to improve. Do research, what you can do to improve, and try to do that. Try to implement those things so that you can improve yourself every single day so that you can get to the point where you are going to be very successful with this podcast. And that's where it's going to right now. And there's ups and downs with it. Even when I look at the analytics of it, there's ups and downs with it, but it's going up. You see, I can't get from point A to point B quickly. It's going to take some time, and I'm going to make mistakes on the way. I am. Some episodes were great. Some episodes weren't. Some episodes I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? I could have done this, or maybe I could have done that. Maybe I could have added this. Like, I'm always looking to improve. I'm not looking for perfection. And this is also with relationship with your spouse, relationship with your kids. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to say stupid things sometimes, and you're going to regret it. And that's okay. That's good that you regret it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good. It shows like, hey, you know what? I care. I care for this person. I love this person. So you know what? Next time, now what I can do is not mess up, apologize, and work on myself now. I'm going to work on myself to make sure that doesn't happen again because that really bothered the other person, and I'm going to respect the other person. Or maybe I could have said it in a different way, or maybe look at the situation in a different way. So that way I can actually not repeat the same mistake. Again, we're not looking to repeat the same mistake. We're not looking to do that. But we can learn from our failures. And failure only happens whenever we give up. That's whenever failure happens. And I'll give you guys an example, like whenever someone is trying to create a business, the moment they stop, that's the moment they failed. The moment they give up, that's the moment they failed. But if they continuously move forward every single day, step by step, eventually they become successful. Eventually they can actually build a very successful company. But if they're going to look at it in 1 year, right? They're going to look in 1 year, okay, you know what? It's not going well. I stop. That's whenever you fail. Whenever you stop, you can't give up. Now, I'm not saying going there 24/7 and working on your anxiety 24/7 and putting yourself in situations and like, no. That's not what I'm saying over here. I'm saying that every single day, work towards that goal. Work toward the goal where you can be anxiety free and look at failure as a positive thing. You know what? I failed. I stumbled. It's okay. It doesn't define who I am. Failure does not define who you are. If you are defining yourself from your failure, change it. So you know what? I'm going to define myself from the success that I have. And we can look at success in a different kind of way. We can look at success as, okay, you know what? I went to do exposure therapy. I had a panic attack or an anxiety attack. I had that, but how long didn't I have anxiety or panic attack when I was there? 5 minutes? Oh, that's pretty successful. I've actually increased my time. That's success. I'm going to define myself from that. I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm 5%. I'm going to get there every single day. I'm going to increase, and I'm going to focus on the amount of success that I've actually had. I'm going to define myself from that instead of my failure. And I'm going to learn from my failures. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. That's the way I'm going to look at it. And failure does not mean I am incapable. It doesn't mean that I am not smart. It doesn't mean that I am not a good person. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you made a mistake and you can learn from the mistakes. And you are not perfect. You are not perfect, guys. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I mess up plenty of times in my life. Plenty of times. And that means with aspects with my relationship with my wife, with my kids, with my business, with my family. I make mistakes. But whenever I tell myself, you know what? I really messed up over there. And it bothers me that I mess up. Not in a way, but like, because like, oh man, like you see, you're not a good person, this and that, because of what I did. What I did was wrong. So I said to myself, you know what? I have to improve myself. I have to improve myself to let this thing not happen again. And even if it does happen again, that means I have to try something else then. That means I have to do something else. Maybe something's really bothering me underneath that maybe I need to fix. Whatever it is, I'm going to try my best to improve myself and not put myself on a pedestal and say, Emmanuel, you should been this way already. Or, you know what? You should not have anxiety anymore already. No, who says that we shouldn't? Where is that even, where does that even say that? Don't put pressure on yourself. You know, I shouldn't be dealing with anxiety at this kind of age already. I shouldn't be dealing with anxiety for so many months or for so many years. No, take away that should. We don't have to be somewhere because of our expectations. We have to be where we are right now. Okay, you know what? I am struggling with anxiety. Maybe I'm not doing certain things in order for me to overcome it. And even if I am, maybe I need to try different things. I need to always improve. I'm not perfect. I'm going to fail. Failure doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm not capable or anything like that. I'm not going to define myself from failure. I'm going to define myself from success. And I'm going to learn from my mistakes and going to learn from my failures so that I can improve myself and achieve becoming anxiety free. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people. And the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.